Hey, everyone, and welcome back to Tales from the Table Studios. You can't see me, but you can hear me. Tonight, I am but a disembodied voice here to tell you that we're doing stuff. Welcome to the Lionheart Mutual Aid event. We're back with a wonderful game of Pantheon created by our very own Jack here, who will be our tale singer tonight. Very excited for that. We're here raising money to help myself and my wonderful family ensure that we do not lose our home because landlords are bullshit. It's a great time. But we're doing what we can do. We're up to 70% of our total goal. We've got till the end of the week, so we're making progress. Things are happening. Weekend till the end of the weekend. Sorry, till the end of the month. Whenever that is. My brain is soup. It is what it is. But we're getting there slowly but surely. Um, yeah, I think that's all I have to do right now. You'll hear from me again at the end when I take care of all the end stuff. But for now, I'm going to toss things over to our wonderful tale singer and introduce yourself, introduce your wonderful cast, and enjoy the game.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing? I'm Jack. Though today I think everyone's going to be calling me True, because I'm not the only Jack in the world right now. I thought I was the only one. I was deceived. Uh, and yeah, welcome to this wonderful night where I get to show off my game. But that's not really we're here to help Lion, but really I'm here to show off my own stuff and to do my own thing and to take over this whole scenario. Um, you can find me on Twitter at JK and Scottrue. But we're going to be playing my game called Pantheon, which I'll get into explaining properly in a minute once everyone's introduced themselves. And the way I like to do that is to pass it to one person, and then they pick who to pass it to next, and until it gets back to me. Which is good help for starting our roleplay process. So I'm going to pass it on to my namesake, person who is, I think, a little bit older than me. So I defer the name Jack to them. As a they had it long before me. They looked after it. They're still using it every day. I can pass it on to other Jack.
Hello, I am Jack Kellum, Jack the Giant Killer of Gods and Game Masters. I am here to play some Pantheon tonight. Don't know what kind of god or demigod I'll be, but I'll be the bestest one I can, or the worst, depending on if I'm villainous. And we will turn it on up and send it over to Aaron.
All right. Yeah, I'm Erin, and my pronouns are she, her, and I cannot tell you anything about my character because I do not have one yet, like Jack said. And let's go over to let's go over to Slay. Whichever way is on the screen. I don't know. I can't actually see it.
Hi, I'm Slay. I am also here to play Pantheon. My pronouns are they, them, and I can tell you everything and nothing about my character right now. Let's go over to Steve.
I'm Steve. First time here. I'm delighted to be joining you and have absolutely no idea what kind of divine or semi-divine entity I'll be playing. So stay tuned.
Dun, dun, dun.
Awesome. These are our lovely people. And once again, being true today, I need to keep reminding myself that, because no matter how hard you try, when someone's using your name and has been using it before you and stole it before you were born, you need to get used to whatever else people are going to call you.
I went back in time specifically to steal your name.
A lot of people did. Yeah. I'm not over it. Cool. So the game we're playing is called Pantheon. This is a narrative, a cooperative narrative game. I call it cooperative competitive because even though we're all friends telling the same story, most of us will be playing the role of a group of gods in their own pantheon that have lived their lives with each other and for eons perhaps and have various relationships that have spanned thousands of years and sometimes that's a bit competitive, a bit argumentative. But that's, we'll see. Maybe everyone's going to be really nice. Maybe we'll be like the Care Bears of gods and we'll go through a really soft, nice story where everything's really nice.
I'm the
everybody likes that. One of us one of us, whoever wants to claim it, and if no one claims it, it'll be me, will be the demigod of this story, will be the person that the story is about. If you've ever seen Jason and the Argonauts or Clash of the Titans or read Greek myth, you'll know the sort of story that this is going to be, though not necessarily in ancient Greece or ancient time. Something we'll get onto in a second once we've decided who the demigod is going to be, is the setting, the era. But first of all, any claims? Awesome. Okay. So as gods, it means you're all going to be telling the story. You're all going to be taking over from each other and continuing the story if you can, and hopefully all driving towards the same point, the ultimate end of the story, which is where we're going to get to. Awesome. So setting, like I said, this game was sort of like inspired by ancient Greek mythology, but we can sort of put it anywhere in time, anywhere in the world. Does anyone have a preferred place that they feel more comfortable telling stories in, like in the modern day or in the future, or like anywhere in the past? Because it will inform who we create. If you've seen American Gods, or read those books, you'll know that, like, in the modern times, the gods are very different than they were in ancient times, because there's different things that are important, different things that matter.
If no one else has a preference, I'd like to do modern day.
All right. That gives us
Sounds good.
possibilities like gods of media.
It does. Gives us modern sensibilities, modern problems, but still, a superpowered character who is going through a story, and in modern day, it's even a lot more like a superhero story. You could imagine Superman talking to his dad through the clouds or whatever, and that's how we'll proceed. Okay, cool. So we've got our demigod, which is me. We're going to be playing in modern day. Where specifically, that'll come up when we start the story. Maybe it won't be anywhere specific. Maybe it'll just be the desert. But first things first, as God players, step one is to choose your primary domain, and we'll start in the same order as we went at the start of the thing. Usually you'd roll for this and go around in a circle, but no one knows where anyone's cameras are, so that's really impossible to do a circle table. So we'll just go in the same order before, and I'll write that order down so we don't forget it. Starting with Jack, then Aaron, then I'm losing names.
Slay.
Then Slay, then Steve.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy order to remember, I think. I'm just
rolling dice for this, or just choosing in that order?
We're just going to choose in that order.
Fair enough.
And the way this will go, the first domain you pick is your primary domain, is your thing that you are encompassing over. Is a very broad subject. So this could, rather than pick something specific for this, pick something that you can, that covers a large scale. Like, the examples given in the book are nighttime, or the earth, or space. This is a broad subject that you will focus in on, and then your secondary domains will be lesser than. But you get to pick first, and if anyone thinks that the thing chosen is too much, they can raise a hand to object. If they think it's too powerful, if they're not sure what it means, because it can be anything in the world, or the non-world, or the future, or the past, or whatever is your primary domain.
Gonna go with a modern day twist on an old favorite and be the god of electricity.
Nice. Does anyone have a problem with electricity as the starting point here? Cool. So in that case, we'll move on to Aaron. What is your primary domain? And what is your starting point? Like the world was made new, electricity crackled out of the ground, lightning flashed, and Jack's character was born. What is your starting point?
How about I'm trying to I'm between either like communication or stories.
Okay.
Which stories technically were telling a story, so I don't know.
Well, that can work. It just means that we've all got to be, really like it means you can sort of jump in whenever you want, but we can all vote against it and say, so stories is one that maybe it sounds powerful, but at the same time, it might be too restrictive because the rest of us will sort of like be stopping you from doing what you want to do a lot of the time.
Yeah. But communication works, I think.
Communication
Yeah.
definitely works.
Let's
It's very it's more of a more modern take on it too, because stories are the oldest thing that makes us human. So
That's true.
Yeah. So, but are you happy with that? Like as
Yeah.
a starting point for your character? Cool.
Mhm.
And we can come back. Like as long as we're in character creation, if you change your mind, we can go back. It's fine. Once we start the story, it's set. But as long as we're in the character creation stage, you can change your mind. And as we go in the game, you maybe gain more. I don't know if we will in this shorter game, but in a longer term campaign, you can gain more domains as the game goes on as well. So moving on, Slay.
I'm gonna go a little more old school. I was hoping to pick death.
Death.
If everyone's okay with that.
fine with it.
So the whole concept of death and dying, or specifically human death, like to you, is it the moment that it passes on, or is it like
the whole concept of death? If that's okay with everyone, I can narrow it down if you want, but
No, that's fine.
all right.
For a starting point, that's perfect. Unless anyone objects, and then next is Steve.
Okay, so we've got some old school like the god of death. Modern day, I'm thinking the god of invention.
That's good.
Nice.
Like a life.
Like that.
Impressive. I'm impressed already.
So inventions. Anybody have a problem with that?
No, I've already got some ideas as to our relationships, but we'll get to that when we have all our domains, I guess.
Yeah. So that is your primary domain. That's the thing that you are most known for. If people read a book about you, that's the first page. That's what it says. They are the god of. So next we move on to secondary domains or faith points. It'll be your choice whether you take a secondary domain, which is a more specific thing in some way related to your main thing. So in terms of electricity, it might be televisions. In terms of communication, it might be radio. That sort of idea where it's related to your thing as tangentially as we'll all allow it. So if you come up with something that is kind of vaguely related, as long as we all agree, that's fine. You can go for it. And we're going to go around in a circle each time as you pick one thing. You can either take a secondary domain, or you can take a faith point, which is the currency of the game, and it's what's going to be used to influence the story later. So you're basically deciding: do you want to be a more defined god, or do you want to have more influence on the story as a vague force that can jump in more often, do more stuff, and make more changes? So those are your choices as we go. I would say for a one shot like this, you probably want to be more defined because you won't get a chance to gain much more in the story. But everyone probably needs at least one faith point as well. And we're going to go around 3 times, and you get to pick either 3 secondary domains, 2 secondary domains and a faith point, a secondary domain and 2 faith points. And if you look at the document, you can find all the uses for the faith points are in there on like page something or other, page 17. And if you want to, we can get into what those uses are now before we pick the domains, or we can get straight into domain picking if that's what you feel that you want to do.
I think we understand conceptually how domains fit gods well enough to pick them for the gods without really needing to know what the rules associated with them are.
And this isn't the only way to get faith points. The demigod can provide them to you, and you can, whenever a god spends one, every other god gets one. So as long as somebody's got some and uses them, they'll be flowing. Okay. They'll only stop flowing if people decide to not use them, and then they get just lost in the ether. So as long as people are engaging with the system, everyone will get some, and you don't have to worry too much. Any questions about that before we get to picking? Awesome. So same order again, Jack.
Power plants.
Power plants. Nice. So you are the god of power plants, as defined. Does anybody have an objection?
No.
Cool. And to you, what does that mean? Like, if as by power plants, like, do you have control over like the whole production of power, or is it like just the plants themselves, like just the physical locations?
It's the production of power. I have control over the production of electricity.
Cool.
Thus, the requisite connection to my main domain.
Awesome. Great. So that's your first pick. Aaron, what's your first pick for a secondary power which relates to your first one?
I was actually before you said it, I was actually thinking of radio as a domain.
That's all good. See, now the question rises: does Jack, the god of electricity, care about radio? Like, does Jack, the god of electricity, want to prevent that domain from being taken by someone else, to the point where because it's powered by your domain, you might want to claim that.
Well, it's powered by my domain. That means if I don't like the way she's using it, I can just turn it off. So no, she can have it if she wants.
Cool. And for communication, like, you can say that it's not the the power itself of radio. It's the voice that gets from one end to the other. It's not the zeros and ones. It's the words and the music. Cool. So Slay.
Here's a slight twist. I was thinking medicine.
Oh, so you want to go straight from death to medicine?
Well, medicine is about preventing death, but if you're preventing death, I'm still here.
Okay, so you're do you see yourself as like a a friendly god of death in that sense, in that like you're there to
I see myself as kind of like, oh, you're cute for trying to get away from me. Go ahead, give yourself a couple decades. It's fine.
Awesome. So does anybody have any objection to medicine?
I don't have an objection. I will point out that it may be a little less of a twist than you think it is. Apollo was god of healing and disease.
That's
so
true.
was Nurgle.
Yeah.
So was the Mesopotamian sun god Nurgle.
It turns out there are thousands of years of storytelling. Some things come up.
Well, the twist in my head, so I'm gonna keep that.
Yeah, keep
it's
that.
A twist in my heart, Jack. It's a twist in my heart.
Don't twist your heart. That's bad for it.
I
feel like this is a conversation your gods have had.
Most likely.
Cool. So, Steve, what would be your secondary domain? Your primary domain, again, to remind everyone, is invention.
Having thoughts, trying to figure out what avenue I want to go down.
Networks.
So like of the computer internet kind of variety.
So Aaron, as the god of communication, do you have an issue with someone taking networks as a domain? And remember, like, we can be friendly, but we can also put feet down if we want to. Like, we can say like, you'd rather not, and then we can all vote on whether it's appropriate.
I wasn't planning on specifically taking that, but it does seem to sort of overlap a bit.
Yeah.
Cool. So would you like to call a vote? Essentially, is the.
Yeah, I'd like to call a vote.
Well, I don't think I need to call for a vote. It's
that's fair enough. You can accept. Yeah.
Yeah.
And change mind.
He concedes. Your first win.
Did you say you'll take a fate point, Steve?
You can take a fate point, or you can take a different secondary domain. It's fully up to him. There's no rush.
Okay. Yeah. God of Invention, who also covers AI.
AI. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So artificial intelligence. In all its forms, or in a very specific way? Because
I think
video
we'll
game
figure
characters
that
have
out
AI,
over time.
as do that's fair enough. That's good. That's a fine call. So the god of invention and artificial intelligence. So any intelligence that's not human, or I guess that's not natural. Then back up to Jack. Pick your secondary domain, or take a faith point. And it can be tangentially related to your first one, or it can be tangentially related to your second one. You can try and get wild with it and get a really tenuous connection that no one can argue with, or that you think you'll win on a vote.
I'm going to go in a tangential direction off of my main domain, not my secondary. And I'm going to go from electricity to speed.
Speed. Nice. Anyone have an issue with speed as a tangential connection to electricity? Because I feel like it works,
Yeah.
Fast
The
as lightning.
flash. Yeah.
Yep.
It allows you a load of room in a different direction to add something new later. And be careful in your storytelling if you're making me go too fast, or you might have the story ripped from your hands. So up next, Aaron.
I was thinking in the same way that like Hermes has like a bunch of different like domains that like are very sort of like odd, but you can kind of see the connection.
Mhm.
I think I was going to go with like politics
I can see
for
it.
I
the
can
other one.
totally see the connection. Goes
Yeah,
straight back to
communication, radio,
communication.
politics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone
Just
have an
means you
objection?
formed as a god in the 20s.
I mean, I was definitely thinking of like 1920s radio announcer persona.
Oh, yep.
Nice.
Awesome. So that's the god of communication, radio, and politics so far. Slay, our god of death and medicine.
So I had two different ideas. One might be a little bit too broad, so I'll go with that. I'll say that first. Entropy.
Entropy. Can you define it?
Like basically how everything just goes to chaos.
Okay, so the chaotic nature of things. Does anyone have an objection to that? As maybe
Jack?
I do. Entropy can be used to justify literally anything. It is one of
All
it's a fundament.
change.
It is the fundamental law of physics. It covers all change. It covers all degradation.
Okay, yeah. I accept that, and I concede. How about decay? What's the other one I had?
That I think
There you go.
I would say that, or like you could do destruction maybe as like another one. I think either like decay I think does work.
Depends on. I guess it depends on how violent a god I want to play, but I think decay works for what I'm thinking of.
awesome. And then Steve, our god of invention and artificial intelligence.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking like fabrication, like manufacturing, but more so on a like building something new rather than building millions and millions of the same thing.
Innovation.
That's already.
Innovation
Already
kind
in-
of sounds
That's already
almost
invention
synonymous
a
with
little
invention.
bit.
So maybe
I
maybe a
think
little bit close. I think production.
it's crafting, because until you get to
Crafting,
the
yeah.
it's crafting and craftsmanship, until you get to the production line, until you get to mass production, all craftsmanship is hands-on. He's just a high-tech version of that.
Oh, yeah, that makes
He's
sense.
Tony Stark building it in a cave.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
yeah,
is that what you're happy with? You happy with that?
I think
Um,
fabrication, even just like what you said, it fits. Like as
Fabrication
someone
does fit.
who works in places where we have to do like fabrication of like prototypes and stuff, like that's what I'd call it.
yeah. I think in that kind of sense, fabrication and crafting are kind of synonymous.
I would accept
I am
those two
leaning
words with the
toward-
understanding that they're synonymous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would accept
I'm
that
leaning
too.
toward the crafting rather than the
Mhm.
craftsmanship.
Copy.
I'm less interested in making it very, very, very exquisitely well than I am in making it new.
Yeah.
Ah, got it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Nice. And again, as long as you can define it for us and for yourself, and you know what you mean, by it, and you can try and explain it to us, and that's all good. Because we can, if something comes up that we don't agree with, we can always call a vote and put it down. Awesome. So, Jack, this is your final choice. You can either take a faith point, or you can expand on your domains.
Like many gods, I have given up freedom for power, and my final choice is nuclear power.
Nuclear power. Getting dark with it. Does anyone have an
Connecting-
objection to that?
Connecting through the power plant to the electricity.
Yeah, I made that connection. Yeah. Okay. I have no strong arguments against that.
Okay, is everyone cool with nuclear power?
Is nuclear? I don't know a lot about nuclear power, but is nuclear power kind of connected to decay, or am I off on that?
You could push it if you wanted to. If you wanted to argue that, you'd have
I would
to
make
define
the argument that it's not, because nuclear power doesn't come from natural decay. It comes from shoving. The kind of nuclear power we have right now comes from shoving two things together and using one to split the other apart. Future nuclear power will come from shoving two molecules together and harvesting that energy. Neither is entropic or decay oriented. Decay is what causes the radiation. That's not my bag.
All right, cool.
The power is my bag.
You can be around the outskirts of that power if you want to. If you want to claim something similar.
I'll think about it later.
Power is my bag. I'm not responsible for the consequences.
My bag is glowing in green and everyone's dying nearby. That's not my fault. Awesome. So you are the god of electricity, the god of power plants and production, the god of speed, the production of power, the god of speed, and the god of nuclear power. So you have all sorts of power in your mind. You are power in everything but the concept of being powerful, specifically. That's awesome. Aaron.
I think I am going to take a faith point for my third one.
Look. So you're the god of communication, radio, and politics. And yeah, you've got a lot of people are talking about you right now. You've got some real faith in the world that everyone believes that you exist in some measure. Maybe not as a deity, maybe not as a being, but there's a lot of faith in radio right now. Slay.
So I'm not. I kind of want another thing there domain, but I'm not entirely sure what to go for. I don't really have any strong ideas, so instead of bogging us down, I'm gonna take a fate point.
Okay, well, if you wanted to in this situation, you could ask around and see if anyone has suggestions for you. You can take them on board.
Sure. Does anyone,
or you
anyone
can
have
just
any
take the 50 point.
suggestions?
Well, with death, medicine,
And
and
decay.
decay, you could take life cycles.
You know, something like aging, or you know, you could even push yourself to like, if you want to be really tangential with it, like growth. Like it depends what you want. Like, do you want to stick with what you've got? And you know, again, you can claim things in game. The way that will work in game is if you come across a subject while playing that one of you believes should belong to you, and you strongly believe that enough to claim it, and that you'll get everyone will agree and vote on it for you. You could, you know, you might get that.
You know, I'm just, you know, I'll just go with the free faith point.
Faith point, no problem. And Steve,
Freedom is important too.
it is. Oh, God of invention, artificial intelligence.
Then you
Crafting.
called on me, and I was gone. Fads.
Ooh,
Ads?
fads. So like,
Yeah, fashions, fads. You know, what's cool and you know,
yeah,
up to the
Cool.
minute.
The zeitgeist.
What's hip with the kids?
yeah. Fads. I like that. Does anyone have an objection to fads / zeitgeist /
No, that's tight
Yeah,
and
yeah.
cool and really connected to the whole AI thing, because AI is really a fad right now.
Yeah.
Calling
Are
things that
you
aren't
the
AI is
god
also a
of
fad.
crypto, bros? Is that?
I would have vetoed that. I don't want to play stupid with that.
Is that your ultimate?
Can I make that like fashions? I think fads are a good example, but they seem like they might be a little bit too boxed in.
Yeah. Fashions. And would you like to include like, so that's everything in culture, right? Like clothing and hairstyles and music.
Yeah, I'm not coming up with the right word. Basically, what's fashionable, what's in.
What's relevant?
Relevance, yeah.
Relevant.
That's a bit broad.
The problem with relevance is that if you're the god of relevance, then everything that's happening in any game is automatically relevant.
Yeah. So yeah.
But that doesn't mean you automatically get to claim that stuff. It would mean that, like, you know, you could have an argument for it if you really wanted to tell the story at that point. You could say.
Oh yeah, trends is
coming
Trends.
up. Okay, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that one actually fits with
That fits
the
very,
more
very, very neatly.
technological perspective.
Yeah. Okay, trends. I like trends. Are we happy with trends?
Yeah.
Big thank you to our producer.
Yeah. Cool. So that is our secondary domains. We've done primary domains. We've done secondary domains. Some of you have taken faith points. So the next thing to do is to think about your appearance and personality. So this is for you to think about for yourself for a minute, and then we'll announce. Everyone will in turn announce what their name is and briefly what they look like. This appearance is just, you know, how you are perceived by most people most of the time. You can have many forms. You can look however you'd like. But, you know, the example given here is like, oh, my god of gravity looks like you know, a stone giant with the rings of Saturn going around the head. And his name was Richter. So just, you know, just a sentence about who your character is, like physically, and what their name is. And it's up to you to sort of embody this character based on the traits you've got so far. And while you do that, I get to create my character. So the first thing I've got to do is decide which of you I want to be the source of my power. So my choices are the god of electricity, power plants, speed, and nuclear power. the god of communication, radio, and politics, the god of death, medicine, and decay, the god of invention, artificial intelligence, fabrication, and trends. There's a lot of going on here. So I get to pick one domain from one person and come up with a superpower based on that. And that is my starting point. I think I'm going to go with something. I'm going to go with trends. So I really like that we got that last minute. And my superpower is that my character will always look in place and good, and like will always, their clothes, whenever they wear clothes, they will either transform into or always just happen to be what's in fashion right now. Whenever they walk into a room, everyone's like, "Whoa, this is the coolest guy ever." And that's
Perfect
like
social chameleon.
Yeah, like a perfect social chameleon. And all demigods have, your basic superhero power set of stronger than a person, faster than a person, tougher than a person. Just your basic super athlete and everything that you get for just being a demigod or a superhero. And then my specific superpower is going to be the power of always being the super chameleon, like you say, the perfect chameleon, in terms of fashion, not in terms of like hiding from people. Like, I'm not like trying to blend in as such. I'm just always, peak of fashion, always the peak of trend. And that's my demigod's main power. So while I think about anyone have an objection to that as my starting point? Awesome. So once I've picked the god who gave me my power, the relationships will come in a minute. Cool. Yeah. So in a minute, I'm going to discuss with Steve, like, whether he's my dad or whether like he just gifted me this power at some point for like a game or whatever reason. But that'll come in the next step we're going to get to, which is relationships between gods. But in the meantime, we're going to head back to each of you back in turn order again to tell me your gods' names and give a brief description. So we finally have character names, everybody, hopefully. Maybe. Yeah, go ahead, Slay.
Quick. I just want a quick clarification. Our description is how we look like to mortals.
Yeah, just your general appearance, like
Okay,
how
cool.
you look like either most of the time or how you're written about if someone describes you, or draws a picture of you. That's what you would look like. Though you can look, however you like. Zeus can turn into a golden rain or a swan or a goat or a pig or a bull or whatever. I'm sure Jack can turn into a power plant. He can turn into like one of those big funnels. He can turn into the electricity itself going through the wires, whatever. But your main appearance, like Zeus is a big muscly guy with a beard. What do you look like? Starting with Jack. What's your name? What do you look like?
I'm called Livewire. I am a humanoid form, tallish, slim, muscly guy, but I'm made of twisted, sculpted living wire that is sparking with electricity. And I do.
Amazing. So we've got live wire crackling away in the corner of wherever you guys live at this moment in history.
I don't know, communication and invention and electricity and medicine. I think we may live in the internet.
Yeah, you live in the in the black screen of a turned off phone. In the so up next, Erin, can you please just give us your character name and describe them?
All right. My character name is Riggs, and she is basically did come into being, like I think Jack said, like in the 1920s, and has that that kind of look, like three-piece suit, kind of like a boater hat that you might expect a grassroots old timey politician to have, and just like slicked back hair, but otherwise usually appears mostly human looking.
It's a she. But for the 1920s, would this be 1920s male fashion or women's fashion?
I would say 1920s male fashion.
Cool.
Nice.
That's what I was figuring. I just wanted to make sure I had the right visual.
Mhm.
Very cool.
By the way, Livewire pronouns.
Yeah.
He, him, they, it. He doesn't really think of it. He gets confused.
You dare refer to me?
How dare you speak to me?
And is it she, her, or is it she, they for Riggs?
Yeah, let's go with she, they.
Cool.
Cool. I'm loving these gods so far, having to live next to each other and amazing. Up next is Slay.
So I am playing Korganu. Korganu, Korganu. My pronouns are any, all. Everyone dies. I don't really care. I have kind of two appearances. One is for people who have lost someone. If you've lost someone, I look vaguely like that person that you lost, that you missed the most. If you lost multiple people, the one that you subconsciously missed the most, I look like that person vaguely. And if you're like a god, or if you haven't lost anyone, I look like a gaunt, androgynous person in a lab coat with like corpse eyes.
He definitely looks like that to Livewire, because Livewire doesn't care about people.
Is that like playing on the idea a little bit of like when you've lost someone, you sort of see them everywhere?
Yeah.
Like, but it's actually this guy.
I actually got the idea a little bit from Critical Role, but we won't go there. But yeah,
it's all good to the network of ideas. It's all out there.
If you're not stealing ideas, you're not working hard enough.
So we've got Livewire, Riggs, and Korganu. And up next, Steve, can you tell us about your god?
Sure. Name is Nouveau.
Nouveau?
Yep. Pronouns vary because basically they never appear the same way twice. They're male, female, both, neither. If they had to pick one pronoun, it would be we.
Makes sense.
In the
They're
sense of like
reinventing themselves with invention and trends.
Yeah.
The thing that is consistent across all of their appearances, at least these days, it's a new thing they're trying out. Is that if you look closely, they always seem to have 6 fingers.
I see them like using those for crafting a lot of things. Like that's their inventing finger, the extra. It has 6 fingers. Awesome.
We got some pretty
cool.
The
reference to AI art, always putting extra fingers on the hands.
Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
Cool. So we have Livewire, the twisted living wire humanoid. We have Riggs, the 1920s inspired. Is there a word for that? Like, I guess like very like really well cut suit going on, and we got Korganu, the many faced god of death that sometimes looks like a emo scientist. And then we've got
Bailey, but good medicine, but yeah.
And then we've got Nouveau. We love Nouveau. Nouveau loves we, and they're constantly changing appearance, and always has 6 fingers. Awesome. So I guess that means I have to come up with my character now. That's the next step is me to come up with my demigod based on a little bit on inspired by you lot. And we're in modern day. And obviously, whatever I wear is the peak of fashion. So probably always wearing flamboyant shoulder pieces. I'm going to go with she, her pronouns. And she's going to be called Baby Dolce. And Baby Dolce is the coolest person in the world. She has, what would you call it? The fashion right now? Like, I guess just long hair right now is kind of in as a thing these days. Like haircuts feel really traditional today. But she has a slick back, and it's long and like stuck behind the ears. And whenever she stands still, she's got a hand on one hip, and will stare into your soul until you praise her outfit. And that is Dolce. She is human. She's demigod. She's she, her pronouns. Baby Dolce. So we have our characters. These are our characters we will be playing as. Now we need to decide their relationships in very basic terms. We've all got decide where we're going with that. Cool. So the first thing to decide is the relationship between the demigod and their god, the god that gave them the power. Do you have any strong feelings, Steve, about whether I'm your child or about whether you gifted me this power at some point?
Okay, so I'm not sure how you will feel about this, and feel free to veto. But I'm thinking somehow it's not necessarily child, but I created you. More about the design side than
Also, I'm like the perfect design that you made to exist in the world as a person.
Yeah, I'm picturing the the scene in TV and movies, I made you, that kind of make. So you existed, but
yeah, but only by your
turned you
whim.
into what you are.
Okay, but like whether that was, in your head, is that like against my will or like at random?
I don't think it's against her will necessarily, although that's up to you. That said, I'm not entirely sure it would occur to Nouveau that somebody wouldn't want to be the peak of fashion.
Well, I like that. Like, because in a minute we'll say whether or not we hate each other, whether I hate you, whether you love me. Like, I think like, yeah, I like the idea that like you've constructed the idea of me, and then because you are the god of this thing, I came into the world and had to exist, and always have, and always will in some form. Like I am, a person. I've lived a life. I grew up, but I've got this power from you. Have we ever spoken? Like, do I know you?
Oh. It's a parasocial kind of thing. You feel like you do.
So I've heard of you, and like I know you. That's definitely my mum, my dad, my god that gave me my power. So I know them. They know me. I know everyone. I'm peak of fashion. I get it. Okay. If they're
But when I put out, a home makeover, cover story, you might get the feeling that it's specifically for you, whether that's the intent or not.
okay, awesome. So we have a parasocial, and you created me from nothingness or from a person. Go ahead,
From a
Jack.
person, just not a cool person.
As the god of invention as well, obviously, this is your guys' thing, but I just wanted to think if you made her whole cloth, invented the being, I was just wondering if maybe you needed help from electricity to get it powered. just thought.
Yeah, maybe that's you. Maybe you tell me that. Maybe that's something you've come to me in a dream and told me I helped make you and give me a faith point.
Oh well, I can't guarantee I won't say that even if it isn't true.
But I'm happy with sort of the vague idea we've got about that. It doesn't have to be, trudged through and every detail sorted out. It's just got to get like a vague idea of our vibe and how we got to where we are. And I think we're there. Okay, so next is the personal relationships between gods. Are any of you related? Are you siblings? Are you lovers? Are you parent child? Are you with one of you brand new? Are you like an outcast? Are you like a leader among gods? And this is sort of like an open discussion where you sort of decide like between yourselves like who's related to who and how, what your relationships are.
I feel like as death, I might be one of the older gods.
I was going to totally agree with that. I would say you're the oldest in your current form.
Yes.
What I was going to suggest for myself, like we have invention and AI and we have communication. I think it's possible that we all had older forms as well as our new modern selves. But at one point, like most pantheons, it may not be the case anymore, but like most pantheons, at one point, I was in charge. Because the lightning and thunder god, the sky daddy, is almost always the head of the pantheon.
I think it's definitely
probably
interesting
isn't
that
the case anymore. It may not have. We may not even have a head of a pantheon anymore. Modern democratic ideals and all. I blame your trends. So it's just a thought.
I like the idea that you used to be in charge, but with this game, I'd rather not have any one deity be like in charge of the others.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't even asking for that.
I know, I'm saying sure.
Yeah. Is that something you think your character will be bitter about in terms of like the past being
the
sure. Glory days?
Oh yeah. Jack loves it. Livewire is still pissed that he's not king of the gods.
Yeah. I think I used to be the guy in the clouds that everybody's talking about.
So that being the case,
how do you feel? Go ahead.
I was just going to ask the question, how does that make the two of you conceivably feel about me as the old stuck-up former leader guy who I've already demonstrated is not necessarily very moral?
See, I would say that if I would do that, yeah, my god was formerly the god of stories before the current form, then I think that she would like your your current form less, because when you were in charge, like, yeah, you were the boss and whatever, but if I'm the trickster, I can just do whatever I want under your nose. Now you can pull the plug on the radio and
Right.
stuff like that.
That's good.
So even though I don't have the direct official power over it anymore, because of how our domains intersect, you feel more like I have my thumb on you, whereas I used to let you get away with anything as long as it didn't come straight into my face.
Mhm.
That's a good one. That's good.
Nice. And of the these following terms, you can decide then for each other god. We'll do a little bit more discussion in a minute. Whether they're supportive of you, or sorry, whether you're supportive of them, whether you're adversarial towards them, or whether you're neutral towards them. So for each person, like say if you have this relationship, Livewire might not feel he's any kind of adversarial. Like you might be neutral towards Riggs, but Riggs might feel adversarial towards Livewire because of this past.
I would say that, yeah.
And you can mark that like as so for each of the other gods, you should have a relationship, and with me the demigod as well.
What if you feel supportive of them but also pull them up short like a parent would a child?
Well, you can claim supportive. You can
Right.
in your head it's supportive.
Doing
And
this
again,
for your own good, son.
And these are broad terms to like give you an idea of like essentially how to vote if you're not sure, like if it's in their favor, but also to determine your character relationships and the conversations you'd have, and then that's like so you can decide, each of you gets to decide for yourself, and it's up to you whether you announce these things or whether you keep them to yourself, and let's work it out based on gameplay. But that's one relationship between you two. I think you're like older, right? As the god of death. You're currently still in your long-term form.
Yeah, I'm older than everyone else. You want me to say what I believe my relationships with everyone is, or do you want to keep?
You can say if anything you want to reveal, you can.
Right.
You can
my
keep
relationship with
close.
Livewire, it was neutral for a long time, but I feel like when you took nuclear power, it became more adversarial.
Mm-hmm.
Why, if I may ask?
Because I took medicine. I wanted, and even though I'm dead, I still want to save lives. And nuclear power, like particularly the atom bomb and stuff, made me go nuclear power.
Take the bomb.
No, you didn't. Oh, okay. I
took nuclear power specifically. Nuclear. I did not take the bomb.
Okay,
you have become Death Destroyer of Worlds.
Not
me.
Okay. Well, in that case, I feel like I'm more neutral towards you than anything else.
Mm-hmm. But if you want to, that can be a point of confusion between the two of you historically. Like if as the god of death you feel like power, energy, destruction, explosion, it connects enough in your mind that it gives you an itch that you can't scratch every time you look at Livewire. You can still write that down as adversarial.
I'll have that itch, but it's gonna be. I'm gonna see if it's gonna be neutral for right now.
Cool.
It's like Apple TV and Apple the software company and Apple the music record company. They were fine. They were both Apple until one day the tech company decided to start making music, and then they fought for decades until the Beatles sorted it out or something. I don't know. I don't know history very well, but they were both
that era of history.
But they were both companies called Apple that had no problem until suddenly they had a problem one day, and maybe you're feeling like you're using the word nuclear. I like the word nuclear. You better not encroach on my domains in the future, Livewire. I see the direction you're headed. You've already been electrocuting enough people for my liking.
I feel like with the medicine domain in particular, I think I would be supportive of. I just like it. Steve, what's your character's name? I just lost it.
Nouveau.
Nouveau. Yeah, I think I'd be more supportive of Nouveau invention medicine. And with Riggs, I also feel like I'd be supportive just because like you're a young god and I'm an old god, so I feel like I have to like be more helpful towards you. Well, you're not young God, but like, because you're sorry, but you in this new form.
And Steve, do you have any thoughts about like what relationships you have with the other gods, or like even and again, like if you have like more traditional relationship, like if any of you is the son of, the brother of, the twin of, the mirror of, and you feel that you can suggest that.
I was going to earlier ask Aaron, how would you feel about either being child of or having some kind of relationship? I'm thinking maybe when you were created or recreated in the 20s with what was then very fashionable. Maybe you were like my last attempt at what I'm trying to do with Baby Dolce.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's a
that
good
could
one.
work.
And I'm noticing that
And
you've
it
got
might make you
radio, you have
spiteful of the new
politics,
one.
not like TV. So I think there's some tension there that yeah,
Mhm.
you had what you had what I expect everybody to want, and then you like stay there instead of keeping up. I think there's possibly some.
Yeah, I think that really works.
Yeah.
And so you're happy to have that as a a canon event, that like all this godly energy was floating around trying to find a new form, and the story was becoming antiquated or whatever because everyone was just listening to audiobooks, and you had to push the
No, audiobooks to bring stories back. No, but radio.
you had to drag all this energy back down into a recognizable being, like as its semi-creator.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that really works. I think maybe as a similar thing to Dolce, if you're a little disappointed in me, I would have the positive relationship toward you, in the same, like like mirroring Baby Dolce's parasocial relationship.
Okay.
Everyone likes nouveau. Everyone wants to be cool.
By
Well,
definition.
Except
not
maybe an
necessarily.
old disgruntled god from the old times who used to be in charge.
I have a connection possibly there. Go ahead. We're on you, I think.
So I noticed in the book you were suggesting having essentially having one of each, so you have some variety. I think the most logical to have for me to be adversarial towards is possibly Korganu, because fads and fashions and keeping up and building the new thing are critically important, and stop reminding us that these people die. Um,
And half of the inventions were created to hold off death.
yeah.
Stop killing people before they finish their magnum opus.
Yeah, I think Korganu in the last century or so has leaned a little bit more towards medicine than death, but you could still be like,
Yeah, but you've been around a long time. You've got that
I've
whole
been
past.
around a long time.
Like you
Old
can't
habits
just put your hands up and say I'm a medicine guy now.
Yeah.
People keep insisting on talking about using AI for like medical stuff, and that's just not what it's for, man. I think I'm neutral toward Livewire, largely because I deliberately try to forget that all this fabrication and our AI and et cetera needs electricity to work. I am inclined to take Livewire for granted, I guess.
Nice.
Cool. So yeah, is there anybody else got any more thoughts on, while we're on the subject of these relationships and relationship dynamics?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask Jack, do you have a relationship towards Korganu?
I do, and it's mainly neutral. It's mainly the death of living creatures isn't super of concern to me.
Mhm.
The decay of organisms into disorganized forms, etc., not of concern to me. Power flows regardless, right?
Mhm.
A little friendly just because we've known each other a long time, because I have some of the strongest memories of my former self.
Mhm.
I wanted to clarify, because I did say that with Riggs, I don't remember noting my relationship with Riggs and Riggs was supportive / vaguely parental. And I think I don't remember talking about an association with Nouveau at all. Now, he sees me as neutral because he's trying to forget how critical I am. My question is this: am I in fact your father? We know who your mother is. That's necessity. So is power, electrical power as it came to be, but is power the father of invention? That gives us the 3 generations of complicated familial interactions.
Sure.
Okay. So I very often act as if I am disappointed. I'm that disapproving father. But I like to think of myself as supportive.
Awesome. I'm happy with all this so far. Does anybody have any objections? Anything to add? Any last minute change to this? And then
should I
how
have-
are we feeling about heading towards a break soon? There's still like after we've completed these relationship section, we just need to set up the story before we can actually start telling it. We can wait until after that if you want to. But if you want to take a break earlier than that, we can. It depends how everyone's feeling. I just want to check in. It's been going a little bit.
I'm good either way.
Good,
If
yeah.
I
everyone
think
else
Slay
can
had
go.
another question.
Yeah, I did.
Absolutely.
So should I have a more adversarial relationship with someone? Because like the book says that we should.
You can't. I think the reason that's in the book is to make sure everyone has a varied perception of people. And if you want to, you can point that relationship towards me, if you want to.
Yeah, I think
Because
I
all
will.
of you also have a relationship with the demigod in some form, or at least an opinion of me. That you can point towards me with one of your.
Jack, I see the wheel spinning.
One of the things that's important, the most important distinction between a demigod and a god is demigods are mortal. You are inherently in an adversarial relationship with them from their point of view, because you are death and they are going to die unless they achieve immortality.
All right, so I'll take that with Baby Dolce.
Nice.
I'll be the bad guy. That's fine.
Death
Baby
hates
Dolce's
me.
fine.
No. Death is not the worst thing that can happen to you.
No.
That is the inevitable.
Well, and again, in the book,
Correct.
there's a section like death is not necessarily even the end of the story.
Yeah.
Like I can die, and then we can continue from the underworld or from whatever underworld structure we decide exists. So yeah, it's not even necessarily the end.
Yeah, death is the start of Eurydice and Orpheus.
Yeah.
I think that Riggs would probably have this almost like older sibling, not relationship, but like the in the way that like the older sibling is the test case, and then the younger sibling can do whatever they want. And so probably resents Baby Dolce.
Yeah, so is that 2 adversarials towards me, or is
Yep.
it cool?
Yeah.
And what about my creator? Like, are you supportive of me, or do you resent me? Or are you neutral? Do you not care? Am I another failed attempt, in your opinion?
I think I'm supportive. I'm just not necessarily as invested in you as you are in me.
Would you are you reflecting the relationship that you have with Livewire to the relationship you have with Baby Dolce? Like you're like where Livewire is kind of like disappointing in you a little bit, or not as don't mean to put words in your mouth, Jack. But
Yeah.
where Livewire is more like thinks he's supportive, but isn't really. Are you more like that? Are you sort of subconsciously reflecting that relationship?
Um, I don't think so, but I think I am aware that it's possible that I'm going to be disappointed again. Which is why it is so important to me that Baby Dolce keep up with with the fashions as they change.
Yeah. So because I imagine with you, it's always a case of like out with the old, in with the new. There's always change happening. There's always new stuff going on.
Got
That's
it.
why you left Riggs. That's why you left Riggs behind, because she just couldn't change fast enough.
Just stayed in the radio, not even TV. Like so yeah, I have to keep on the trends because I think because I have this parasocial relationship with you, I'm really supportive of you as my deity. Like I maybe not active worship, but like active support, like active, like I tell everyone that you're my parent figure. I tell everyone that you made me, and I'm destined to be this figure of fashion forever. And then I'm probably adversarial towards death in the same way that death's adversarial towards me. Like I know that aging and decay and that's the loss of fashion. That's the loss of being the tip top. Am I going to be able to do this when I'm 50? Am I going to be able to do this when I'm 70? Like with death creeping up behind me, making me older every day.
The whole point of fame is to live forever.
It is. And then like
and I don't think I like people who try to live forever.
Right?
And as for my neutral vibe, I think that probably goes towards Riggs, because I'm radio again. Radio, I'm not. I do like when I'm on the radio, but like you're so like otherworldly to me. You're so out of my scope that like it doesn't bother me. I think neutral is as well towards to Livewire. Like I might not even know that you exist. Like I might take you for granted as an older god, like as an older force. I'm not interested in the development of power, in like what the current stage of nuclear energy is, unless green's in as a fashion statement, and then it'll bother me. So yeah, and that's relationships. If you want to write any of those down that you can't remember, like because it'll be, but again, it'll be a mix of stuff.
So how I feel about Baby Dolce is she's my youngest grandbaby, and I'm gonna make her love me.
That's your one of your missions.
Yep.
I will be relevant. I will.
He doesn't understand that that's what's actually happening, but yes.
Awesome. Cool. So unless anyone has anything else to add, that is the end of character creation. Is everybody happy with all of their domains, all of their powers and relationships?
I think this is going to be the beginning and the end of a beautiful friendship.
And the end of all things.
No.
Well, something.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
I mean,
cool.
It's going to be cool. That's the important
Yes,
thing.
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So the last thing we should set up before we go on a break is the very start of our story, where we're going to begin and how, and our main goal. So deciding on a goal, step one is to discuss the main goal that this story is heading towards as players, not as our gods for the moment. As players, what is the end point of our story? the suggestions here, we can roll for it if we want to, but we have defeat a legendary enemy, rescue an important person, save an important place, discover an important location, find a special object, journey home. What to us is the end point of this tale? Go ahead, Jack.
One of the oldest stories known to man is the search for an object that provides immortality.
It is.
That's
Or an
gonna put
object
me
that
at
provides
number
healing.
2.
In point of fact, it's in the Enuma Elish and the Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh goes looking for the herb that grants him immortality, but loses it to the snake. So that, I think, my personal opinion is that's a very classic mortality versus immortality vibe, and that's what we've kind of got going on with death as the primary adversary.
Mhm.
Yeah, death is the primary adversary, and invention and trends as the primary protagonist, and the battle of relevancy with everyone involved. Like I feel like that's a very, that makes sense to me, at least as a goal. Any other suggestions before we hone in on this and make it fit our setting?
I like what Jack came up with. I really do.
Yeah.
So what's the object?
Exactly. That we decide. We're in a modern setting. What is the object? Is it an ancient object? Is it a new thing? What is it?
It's something that changes with the times to adapt itself to maybe it's semi-aware that death doesn't like it and it's trying to adapt itself to hide from death itself.
Okay, so in Hindu myth, it's soma, which is a type of milk. In Greek myth, it's ambrosia, which is made from the golden apples of the Hesperides. In Norse myth, it's the golden apples, again, of Udun. In Chinese myth, it's a giant peach.
So in most of the cases so far, it's food.
It's almost always food of some kind, and it's usually a fruit.
I just had a very funny idea. Avocado.
I mean, that's not.
That's very meme.
No, I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny in my head.
But I like the idea of it being a food, and it can.
Avocado works in the very these millennials are always looking for these avocados.
It's not that it's new; it's that it's a new trending superfood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, avocado means testicle.
Actually, that's apocryphal. Or it means testicle in the way that huevos does, that it literally means avocado. It was just used as slang because avocados
it's a Mexican euphemism for testicles. That's I'm sorry. But still the approach there again attaches it to life generation.
So what is our superfood? What am I looking for? What does Baby Dolce have to find to complete this story? What is our thing? Does it relate to one of you, or is it a thing of its own making?
So I think it was made by invention, by combining several other superfoods, like all superfoods that are known for life extension or are in the actual mythological record, right? So he took an avocado and he took a peach and he took an apple and he genetically Frankenstein them all together.
Suggestions for a name. Could it be called the New Leaf? That's what it's. I've got to search for the New Leaf. And that's
I'm thinking the Omega 4.
The Omega 4.
Just the Omega fruit.
Like a team.
The Omega 4, because of the Omega 3 fatty acids.
It's one better than Omega 3.
It's one better, Omega 10.
It goes up to 11.
Omega Infinity.
I like Omega 4. Omega 4 fruit or just
Yeah.
Omega 4
Yeah.
formula?
And that could be a
formula.
marketing name for it, because maybe we could start off with me seeing an advertisement for it on the TV. Only I see this advertisement, or I think only I see this advertisement, because
Yeah, because
of my
that's the
parasocial relationship, and I'm like, okay, I've got to go on a quest. But I like that as a thing. I could see that being branded on stuff.
What do you think, Steve?
This may be getting a little bit too much into dynamics of the story that we want to tell, but as we're going back and forth between is it a fruit, is it a formula, maybe there's some thought that there might be something natural out there that'll do it. But there's also a school of thought that says, no, this has to be like made in a lab, so that we have like sides between us, between like the god of invention and the god of medicine.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so basically it's a compound that may be found in nature or may be synthesized, and we don't know which one yet until the end of the story, until we get
That's
there.
good. That's
Yeah.
good.
So yeah, omega 4 compounded, then it's just it's a type of fatty acid that we don't know if it's found or how yet.
Yeah.
Except of course you do. You know it can be synthesized.
Well, that's up to whoever's narrating at the time, I imagine. The very
Gives us a
specific
reason
details.
to compete gives us a reason to compete to see who's narrating.
Yeah,
It would seem to me that if we're starting off with, you just having gotten a message from Daddy, that Steve should probably start out.
Yeah.
Well,
I can agree
the
with
person
that.
to start out is always the person that the demigod chooses.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think
That
I
makes
will
sense then.
choose. I'm probably going to choose Steve myself too, but just as a point of thing.
Oh, that's a good thing to know.
And then
Okay, good to know.
the last thing I need to do that I forgot about character creation is I need to hand out faith points. I have 3 faith points as a demigod that I can give to the gods at the start of the game, as like a because I want people to have them, and I'm going to spread them out. I'm going to give one to Jack. You didn't take any faith points. I want you to have one. And then I'm going to give one to my creator. And then I'm going to give one to my sister, I guess, my erstwhile sister. I'm not going to give one to Death because Death's trying to kill me.
Fair.
I mean, I don't have
Also,
to
the
try.
rest of us are a happy family.
Yes, very, very happy.
Yeah. So to sort of connect me to the rest of you, Jack, do you want to be my brother? You want
Brother makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
And then, like, our sister was life.
Yes.
But, and our sister was life, and our cousin was necessity, which we didn't get,
Yeah.
we didn't intermarry too closely. We're better than the Greeks.
Yeah.
One step better than the Greeks.
One step better.
Cool. So we are going to be playing our story. I think we should come up for a break after now that we've just set all this up. We've come up with a title for our myth. So based on we have our character names, we have our adversary, we have our objective. What do we think the title is for our story that we're going to tell?
I think it's pretty obvious. The Omega Formula, spelled Fourmula.
Mm-hmm. So is it Baby Dolce and the Hunt for the Omega Formula, or is it just Omega Formula?
No, I like that.
Or is it
Baby Dolce and the Hunt for the Omega Formula works?
Yeah, because that brings it into the whole Percy Jackson arrangement, which makes it modern myth right at the beginning.
Oh, I was even gonna say like Jason and the Golden Fleece.
I mean, there are some myths named that way also.
Mm-hmm.
But Percy Jackson is right up in the zeitgeist right now. It's your fault. It's your fault invention. Anyway.
So yeah, when we come back from our break, and whoever's watching us, come on, let us have a break. Let us stop. We're all dying. Let us stop.
Break.
When we come back, we're gonna be playing the tale of Baby Dolce and the hunt for the Omega formula. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm still true. I'm not Jack yet, not for a little while longer. One day, very soon, I will claim it, and you won't see it coming. Not today. We've got to finish this thing. Yeah. So welcome back, everyone. We're going to play some Pantheon. We're getting into the story bit now. We haven't got infinite time, so chances are we'll sort of have to rush the end a little bit. But as long as everyone gets like a little bit of a turn, and we get to see how the story unfolds, and maybe get a little bit of faith point spending, a little bit of everything in there, we'll get that'll be I'll be happy. And hopefully we'll get a satisfying ending to Baby Dolce's story, and she'll get the what was it called again? The Omega Formula. The it may be natural, maybe magical, maybe invented. But to begin this story, I'm going to pass to our first chosen GM, who is Steve, as the god Nouveau. So whenever you're ready, if you could start us off by giving us a little reminder of the setting, and then decide for yourself where to go from there.
Sure. I think we start. I didn't quite decide whether this is our world or an adjacent world. So we start in some version of Times Square. Screens everywhere. Things booming out, and a startling number of those screens all have the same face, which is of course Baby Dolce. I think we go from there to an interview somewhere about the legally distinct equivalent of a Kickstarter campaign that's being run for this miracle cure that's being developed. Not to put you on the spot, but the host is asking some open-ended questions for Baby Dolce to make the pitch. And
cool. So what am I inventing here? Am I trying to create our Omega Formula, or am I what do you think I'm inventing?
I think you're promoting the product line that is ultimately, hopefully, going to include the Omega 4. But for now, building the brand, building trust in Nouveau Labs and their full line of cures and health products.
Okay, so I'm a very I'm an internet celebrity by the sounds of things, and Baby Dolce is on all these screens in Times Square, and she's chatting with the press, and mostly it's hard for people to like really concentrate on what she's saying, because they're all just thinking she's fucking cool, like she's so cool, like whatever she's talking about. What's this thing, Omega 4 that she wants to try and invent? Whatever. Yes, I'll spend money on it. And Baby Dolce, she talks very softly, and she has black hair that is behind her ears, and she wears a feather boa that wraps all the way around her arm and like becomes snakeskin as it comes down to the thing. The wing, the feathers turn to scales, which turn to very fine snakeskin gloves.
I think the in any other company, the host of the program would be attracting all the eyes in the room. The perfect hair and the chin and the whole deal. They're being remarkably gracious about not being the center of attention because now they are in the room with you. So, darling, how did you get involved in all of this anyway? Health, health and supplements and
It's the way forward. Everybody knows it. And we never go back.
never go back. You sharp-eyed viewers might notice an extra finger on one of her hands. Add something. It's gone. But that's all right.
You can toss it to one of us if you want.
Yeah. You should know, darling. Your face is everywhere. Your voice is everywhere. Everyone is fascinated. I almost said you're all over the radio, but that's horribly passé. Have you considered getting any any federal grants, that sort of thing, or are you determined to do this entirely without politics and entirely with?
So the subject is veered to radio.
I think that at that, I'm going to. I would say that. How about I spend one of my faith points and influence the story? And I'm going to say that the mic's cut out at this point. And you are sort of left without the this ability to broadcast, and you just hear, I think, in your earpiece that you have, that you're mic'd up to, you just hear a voice and say, but this whole thing doesn't really work unless you have the Omega formula, doesn't it? We can talk all day about processes and building things and things like that, but unless you know how to do it, that's going to be a bit of a problem, eh?
And what I think about a response to that, when you spend a faith point, everyone gets a faith point.
Cool.
To hold on to for when you want it. Are you claiming narration, or are you just spending the faith point and allowing it to continue once you've completed your bit?
Yeah, I'll. Sorry, did you have?
I was a feel free.
Okay, yeah, I'll claim narration also.
Cool. So Dolce, what kind of rinky-dink operation is this? I'm supposed to be on every TV in the world, and now no one can hear my voice. They're just supposed to look at my magnificent clothes and know what I'm selling based on that.
Well, it seems like the spoken word isn't too obsolete after all, is it? But I have a bit of a quest for you. If you're looking for this fancy new Omega formula, you should know that there's a version of it that already exists somewhere out there. If you can make it in a lab, you can make it somewhere else. Someone already has, maybe. And
Where should I start? Where do I find this thing?
well, that's the question, isn't it? You gotta start where everything starts. It's gotta start from the beginning, from where the broadcast originates.
Baby Dolce will stand up and storm out of this interview, throw away the earpiece. She doesn't need to hear this. She needs to focus on her formula, not to errant voices on the radio.
All right. So as you walk out of the I'm gonna say the set, is this like more of a talk show type deal?
Yeah, that's up to you.
Yeah, sure. So you storm off the set, off of the plush couch that's there, and when you go out into the street, and you can see on every television, there's just various versions of you see basically yourself storming off the set numerous times copied over because of the broadcast delay. Um, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go?
It definitely planted a bug in her head. She's been trying to make this formula for years. She's been using all of her money that she's gotten from her various obscure drugs that probably haven't been tested enough, that she sells online to anyone who will pay. And she has to fund her lifestyle. She has to fund her wardrobe, and she has to live forever. So I think I'm gonna petition a god. Something I can do as a demigod is I can give a god a faith point and ask them for a boon. So I'm gonna give that faith point to my patron, my one and only, that definitely loved me back and isn't ignoring me most of the time. I'm gonna give Nouveau a faith point, and I'm gonna ask for a direction to travel. Like, where do I go? That's my question to you, and you can decide if you want to give me the answer or not.
Oh, look, there's a familiar name there in the chat. Wow. Follow your nose. You follow your instinct. What sort of boon are we talking about here?
Well, I'm just asking you a direct question. Like, which should I go? Is there a location I should go to? And you can discuss this with your fellow gods if you're not sure. Like, if it's something you want to like group think, or if you just want to send me somewhere, you can do that. And right now, Aaron is still narrator when it comes back to me.
Any thoughts? Sorry, my brain is
It's all good.
operating at the moment.
It's a very fluid game, and we're sort of like warming up to it. Sometimes
I'm
it
only
takes a bit.
going to be cryptic because these things are supposed to be cryptic. The sun comes up in the east and everything starts there.
I like that. That fits with what I said earlier. Yeah.
Do you relay that to me?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Awesome. Sun sets. Sun east. Okay. So she gets into her very expensive, very fashionable car, and she starts driving down the highway in that direction.
Right. It is still me. Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, so you drive east. And you are in you're already in uh you're already in New York. We've established. So I will say you drive east and it takes you to uh let's say, is Long Island east of Manhattan?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll say it takes you out to Long Island. Um and
Yeah,
so
you'd be going
you're
from Manhattan into either Brooklyn or Queens.
yeah, so you drive through Brooklyn first, into the hustle and bustle of the city. A lot of, energy, a lot of traffic. Um, just yes.
I would like to make the case that you've mentioned two of my aspects, energy and speed, with the speed
Mhm.
of her travel and the energy involved here. And
All
I
right.
will actually spend one of my faith points in order to take uh, possession of the domain of energy as separated from
Mhm.
electricity and power.
So you're wishing to claim a domain, something you can do if no one objects, you can take
I
it.
have no objection.
I think that fits.
Okay. And are you claiming narration as well?
I am.
Does anyone object?
I do not.
Cool.
Heading into the traffic from you crossed the bridge from Manhattan, from Times Square out in onto Long Island into Brooklyn. You're traveling through a much rougher part of New York than the high skyscrapers. It's the kind of place where you'd almost expect to see your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man swinging by to save the day.
Is he
Pass
there? He
by
could be there. We're making this episode go along. Is Spider-Man there?
not yet. You would
Damn it.
possibly expect to see him, but he is not there yet. However, on your right, there is a small bodega, a small shop, almost directly due east from the studio you were in Times Square. A sign flashing above the store lists a number of things, food, beer, ice, the things you'd expect to find at a corner store. But it also offers an unusual thing on the sign is herbal supplements.
Okay. And is there something about this particular sign that other than it being slightly unusual, in the right
It
direction?
keeps shorting out, and then the light flashes out and then back on again with a crackle of electricity across the whole sign.
Mhm. I definitely slow down as I approach it. The traffic is probably still horrible.
Yes, but as you maneuver to get towards the bodega, the traffic seems to ease up and let you that direction, enhancing your speed.
Mhm. And so yeah, I guess I'll pull over. I could get some ice. So I could get some ice right now. I can always go for some ice. And
You have a hankering for some ice.
it's on the sign. She gets out and slams the car door angrily. This car is already out of date. I bought it 3 weeks ago. And she heads into the bodega.
Just as you're heading into the bodega, two things happen at once. One, you're accosted at the front of the bodega by a very rough-looking elderly man, probably a homeless man, an unhoused person who obviously has been down on their luck for some time and they don't have clean clothes, they don't have good shoes on their feet, and they are mumbling and begging you for money and saying, "Hey, buddy, oh, I'm sorry, sister, listen, just can I just get a couple of bucks for some food? I promise I won't spend it on liquor."
I think she's not like uncompassionate, but she definitely, she's got better things to do than to give money, and also carrying cash around that's not very fashionable. So she like, "I'm sorry, I have nothing you're looking for, but you can take my car if you want something." And she like gives him the car keys.
What? I'm gonna need you to roll that die 6 and get at least a 4 in order to convince him that
it's not a stolen
even
car that I'm
insane.
just trying to pass off.
Yeah.
To her, material goods are nothing. She'll buy a new car on the way home. I rolled a 2.
All right. 2 things happen at the same time. He drops the keys on the floor of the bodega like they're superheated or like they're infected with some sort of disease. And a car veers off the road and slams into your car where it's parked poorly on the side.
Yeah, it was definitely at least 1/3 out into the street when she pulled in and parked.
You mentioned disease and decay.
I did. It's not directly one of your purviews at the moment, but it could easily become one.
I would like to claim disease, please.
Okay.
I believe you would
spend
a faith point.
Do I spend a faith point for that?
Yes, I believe you do.
I'm spending 1 faith point.
Which everyone gets a new one. Everyone gets one.
Yeah.
I'm
at 2. Then I can use. Okay.
Everyone else gets one. But yeah, you so you're claiming disease.
Yep.
Do you also claim narration?
Yes. I'm gonna try. If you don't mind, Jack.
Any objections?
Absolutely not.
All right. So, as that unhoused person has dropped their keys, the keys in your car has just been totaled. You look up into the face of the unhoused person. Who is someone that you've lost, that you miss?
I think because of the barrage of faces, like she had a best friend at one point, and like her name was Clara, and at some point she's not very sure with all the whirlwind of fame and all the faces around her. Eventually, she realized Clara wasn't one of those faces anymore, and she's got no idea at what point Clara was gone. She may be alive, she may be dead, she may just be, elsewhere. But
so, for a split second, for this, it could be a trick of the light. It could be something you don't know. It could be adrenaline rushing through your body as your car was just totaled. But you see Clara, or someone who looks vaguely like Clara, and they say, "You need to stop." But as you blink, it's just the unhoused person, and the unhoused person is running from the accident, and there's the bodega in front of you, and the keys on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as far as Dolce is concerned, that car belongs to the unhoused person, so she doesn't have to worry about insurance or tax anymore on that car. That wasn't even her car at that point. She she thinks about Clara.
Rich people are disassociated.
She's more than rich. Like this car was probably given to her as a gift at some point in turn. Maybe that's just how cars are gifted. It's like a cat distribution system, but for cars, as far as she's concerned. And she will head into the bodega, but like still concerned because if someone's telling her like to stop, and her car just got totaled. Like, she was in that car not long ago. She'd stepped out of that car a moment before. But she will step inside and look around, because there's clearly something here that's important, whether it's something she should avoid or something that she should head towards. That's what she wonders.
So, yeah, I'm still narrating, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So inside the bodega, you see mostly what you would expect, but like a counter, food, bottles of liquor, bottles of soda, bottles of other substances, and something draws you to the herbal supplements.
Mhm.
And you don't know what, but you go over there and you see the owner of the bodega, and you swear you see Clara again. Like, you think it's just out of the corner of your eye, you swear you see her. But the radio is playing. Sorry, this is my first time jamming.
You're doing amazingly. Keep going.
Okay. And there's an older person sitting at the herbal supplements saying, "I've been waiting for you."
Before I continue, there was a hand up. I saw it.
Oh, sorry.
You
Was there a hand?
it was only very brief. I saw Aaron raise a hand.
Aaron, did you have a hand up?
At radio?
Well, you did mention the radio.
Take it.
So I will go, and this old woman, you hear her voice, and she it does seem to come from her, from the radio, from the owner of the bodega, from the cat that is also in the bodega.
Always.
And she just says, "So you are seeking the Omega formula, are you?"
I am. I was planning to make it myself, but perhaps it already exists.
Yes. There is an old world underneath the city, that of tunnels and steam vents and subway stations. And written on the subway walls is truth.
You want me to go into the subway? I have not seen a train in 20 years.
Do you want to complete your quest? Or do you want to continue to struggle and spend without the possibility that you'll ever quite crack it?
Steve.
Yep.
I'd like to spend one faith point to add or remove a minor detail. So as they're having this conversation, next to the rack of herbal supplements, there is a rack of the kind of periodicals that you find in this kind of a place. The headlines. Actually, let me make this two faith points, because I'm going to add two details. The front page on one of them is about somebody attacked by an alligator in the subway tunnels underneath New York. The other is
Foreshadowing
this
narrative.
update, herbs are out, invention is in, science is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not claiming narration, just adding two details.
just filling our minds with crocodiles. Great.
All right. So you have these two details that seem to warn against going to try and find this this true formula and abandon the pursuit of crafting.
I think she will take one more hard look at the owner of the bodega, make sure there's no more resemblance to Clara there, and then how do I get to the subway? I'm sure there is an entrance or something.
Yes, there are stairs on the street that go. Have you not ever used a subway before? You just walk down some stairs and it goes down into a tunnel that is the subway.
Trains are not very fashionable. I will find my way there. And I suppose I will have to be wearing some new shoes. You take these ones. She pulls off these enormous super stiletto high heels that no one could walk downstairs in these things, and just plants them on top of the table. And she looks around. Is there another pair of shoes around here? And I'm going to give a faith point to our narrator here, and ask for a boon. I want a magical item, please. I want some magic shoes. That you can describe and give to me.
Yeah, I think the magic shoes that you receive, they're not super fashionable shoes. They're almost like what they are actually is they're spat style shoes, at very out of fashion, but they do allow you to let's see, magic shoes. I'm going to say these shoes will allow you to move silently, and yeah, how about that? They allow you to move without sound.
They may not be fashionable, but within the week, everybody will be wearing them. And she, does anyone object to me getting these shoes?
Nope.
Then she will put them on and go and find the nearest subway entrance.
All right. You go down the nearest subway entrance, which is a station in Queens somewhere that I'm not from New York, so I don't know.
The details are fluid. It's all good.
Yeah, lost to time. What subway stations are in Queens? And you head down, and it's not rush hour right now, so it's not super busy. There's a few people on the platform. You see there's no train there at the moment. There's just the tunnel with the two standard subway rails and then the electrified third rail. Yes.
That third rail is electrified, and that is my domain. Do we agree or disagree?
I agree.
Moving forward, unless someone specifically speaks out, we can just continue as if
Very good.
Agreement.
The third rail, in fact, in this subway with just a couple of people there, it's not as full. That third rail, you can see it. It draws your attention by sparking, and the spark travels from west to east down along the subway line. Now, from Queens all the way out east quite some distance, in New York. It goes kind of along a line of different botanical gardens that this subway line goes under. Starting in Queens with the Queens Botanical Garden, that seems to be where you went underground. The signs show that this subway also stops at Queensboro Community College, North Hills Country Club, the Clark Botanic Gardens, and then this particular line ends at the Old Westbury Gardens, all of which are botanical gardens. It's as if you've been given a line directly through New York to look at a bunch of different places where plants grow.
Mm-hmm. And when she steps to the platform, is there a train there? Is there a subway car? Sorry, pass on.
Wesley?
I wanted to spend 3 fate points to bring in an ally or enemy.
Mhm.
And I act as that person. Clara is there. Clara comes out of the shadows. And I'm Clara right now. And you know it's Clara. You may have forgotten her face at some point, but you know who this person is when
she spends 3, we all get 3, right?
Yeah.
You'll get 1.
You'll get 1.
Any amount of fate points spent, everybody gets 1.
Yeah.
Yes, you can't just all do powerful things one after the other, and hopefully,
yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Dolce, don't do this. Don't do this.
Dolce will turn to look. I thought you were gone. Nobody ever comes back.
No one's meant to come back.
Are you dead?
Yes.
Why shouldn't I go?
Why shouldn't you get the Omega formula? Well, all death is natural. All death is beautiful. You don't need to live forever. Nothing should live forever.
The third rail sparks more fiercely, and the sign for the Old Westbury Botanical Gardens flashes on and off as the train rolls into the station.
And Clara rolls her eyes and says, "That annoying old man. You shouldn't do this, Dolce. This will change everything. This will destroy the world."
You could come with me.
I could.
The world can be destroyed as far as I'm concerned, but I will be living still.
You'll be living alone, dear.
And I will truly be the height of fashion. And she steps on the train.
You see Clara has a very disappointed look in her eye, and when you go in... Well, I'm sorry, Jack. You're narrating.
No. As long as it's something Clara's doing.
All right. And when you walk into the train, Clara, there's a loud scream, and all the windows shatter, and Clara's gone.
Mental damage.
The train jerks into motion, uncaring of the comfort of its passengers, almost like a writhing, living thing, as electricity jolts through it, and it flies eastward swiftly.
I think Baby Dolce is like the most awkward person you'll ever see on a train. Like, she doesn't want to touch the side rails. She doesn't want to sit down. Like, she's just standing there in her extremely fashionable outfit and 1920s spats. Like,
all right, then give me a die 6 roll. Your difficulty is 3 or higher to stay standing when the train lurches into motion.
I rolled a 4.
Not only do you stay standing, you make it look easy. effortless. After all, you are the height of style and fashion.
Puts hands in pockets and stands fashionably with sunglasses on, looking at nothing in particular. And then there's a few photo flashes from somewhere.
As the
Steve's got
train
something.
presses... Yes?
I can take a hint. I think that's four mentions of fashion in the last like 3 sentences.
Very good.
As you're standing in the train, you're glancing around at some of the other passengers. What is it about periodicals today? Somebody has big big headlines celebrating a essentially the Dr. Fauci of this world for innovations in the, and right next to them is somebody with a tabloid. What were they thinking? This is the one that will destroy the celebrity's career. With them walking underneath a big overhanging tree. That it's beautiful, all right, but there's sap and pollen and gunk all over them.
I
train
think
continues to
with
move.
that, I am going to. I've built up enough points, faith points. I'm going to become an avatar.
So yeah, the god of communication appears on the train.
Yeah, so you see someone in a horribly outdated suit and like straw boater hat, just like very unfashionable and not chic. But she does say, listen, kid, the one thing, I'm not a fan of yours, but if it's gonna stick it to the big guy, I'm all for it. Don't listen to the papers. Only the radio is gonna get you exactly what you need. Follow me. And she is going to she's just gonna, I think, pry open the subway car doors.
So I think Baby Dolce, narrator Steve, can you give me a difficulty roll for deciding whether to try and make radio fashionable again, and go with this person / god that I can barely look at for the glory.
Yeah. So you're gonna roll a d6, and Nouveau desperately wants to make it require a 6, but I will.
You're the narrator until
Yeah.
one of us takes it from you.
Yeah.
That's kind of how this works. It's competing gods.
Yeah.
But changing in unpredictable ways is kind of part of his way as well. Let's say a 5.
5. I gotta roll a 5 or a 6.
How generous.
You might just be too unfashionable to keep me on board. That's the thing. I see you. I want to go the other way. I rolled a 6. I want to go with you. And that Baby Dolce.
I don't know who you are, but I'm with you.
Are you holding out a hand?
Yeah. Just like, come with me, kid. And with that, just gonna jump out of a moving train.
How does that go, narrator?
I think that's entirely up to whether our demigod follows. I doubt that jumping off a moving train is going to kill a god.
I took their hand and they're bringing me with them off a moving train.
You have a moment to realize how abjectly suicidal this is,
Anything to be off
and
the
then you
train.
pass through the wall.
You mentioned suicide, which is death.
Yes, I did.
May I cut in? So give me a die 6 roll, 5.
What happens if I roll lower than 5?
Well, you won't die. You may. I'm not going to kill you, but you're going to get hurt.
Okay. I rolled
You're
2.
gonna ruin your... So you land very roughly. You scrape, and your clothes are now
no
more messed up and less fashionable than Riggs's. Riggs is a height of fashion compared to you right now.
Fate worse than death.
It's okay. In a week, everybody will be wearing torn clothes, covered in rat feces.
Listen, it's a look. It's a look for radio.
I believe the word you're looking for is distressed.
And so correct me if I'm wrong. This is in the middle of a subway tunnel. Okay. So
we're very much still like in a subway tunnel.
Yeah, you're in the subway tunnels now, and it's long and winding paths. You don't know the beginning. You don't know the end. Well, you know the end, but
there's probably a maintenance exit down here somewhere.
You're saying you didn't know where we were going when you pulled me off the moving train?
Well, not exactly. To be here, I have to, give up some of the whole omnipotence. Hold on, take that from the top. We're not live, are we?
We're very much live, Riggs. So you do find you go a little ways. You do find a maintenance exit. It's open. Someone left it open for you. You climb up into the busy streets with cars. It's rush hour now. It's cars are speeding by. You don't know exactly where in the city you are. And yes, Jack, I repeat that up specifically for you.
You don't know where in the city you are or what city you're in. The sky is a lurid purple. The buildings are shaped like monoliths of stone with runes carved on them. Your brief stint moving through the underworld has done what the underworld so often does and taken you to another place close by our own.
You are the all-powerful being. Where do we go?
Still,
all right.
East, you can see the sparking. Almost like the sun rising in the east, but in the shape of a lightning flare.
I'm going to say toward that thing.
Fine. And very quietly on her magic shoes, Baby Dolce will continue heading east.
It seems to be a good thing that you were granted magic shoes that silence you, because you can feel that everything around you is nearly completely silent, and you're not sure why, but you're certain the buildings are listening, and if they heard you, they might move. The lurid purple sky is almost as threatening as the buildings as you march on. And then ahead, from an alleyway, or is it a canyon? It's hard to tell the difference in this kind of architecture. You see a pale white nose, and then a little more of a pale white nose, and then a longer head of a massive crocodilian with white scales and red eyes, padding forward somehow silently out of this alleyway to block your passage. It turns and looks at the two of you.
Well, chum, I think this is where we part ways. And
What do you mean this is where we part ways?
I am going to abandon my avatar at this point.
What does it look like when you do that?
Just slowly, almost like a song fading out. Just voice and appearance like fades into the background, and Riggs is gone, leaving you to deal with the crocodile.
Yes.
I like to spend one fate point. Let me know if I can do this because I'm not entirely sure if I can. The crocodile's eyes flash white and it attacks. Can I
Absolutely,
do
you can do that.
that? I'm doing that, and you all get a fate point.
Spending a fate point. As long as it's just changing the small detail that it's already attacking me.
It wasn't originally, but
That's the detail changed.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I hadn't specified it.
Yeah.
In the same moment before we get back to the narrative, I'd like to spend 2 faith points to grant a boon. The examples are given are a magic item, weapon, ability. You are carrying. You are packing. What I'm trying to say.
A gun appears. Very fashionable gun.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Is
More
it magical in any way?
than it appears. It looks delicate and cool, but it packs a wallop.
Okay, so I've got this. I've Dolce has always carried this embroidered handle pearlescent pistol. I've never fired it. But it's fashionable to hold sometimes, and she aims it up at the crocodile as it charges forwards.
As you're aiming it, the giant albino crocodile, probably from the sewers, given how these stories go, slides to a stop, its mouth snapping closed, and says, "Oi, that's a bit rude, isn't it? You're about to shoot me."
She considers still shooting it, but does raise the gun. What kind of thing are you?
I'm an albino alligator.
Do they all talk?
Oh, no, I'm the kind that's sent here, as a step in your quest, kind of traditional like. It's just not, here we are, sort of in it's not exactly New York, but I was in New York and you were in New York, and it's New York it's a New York state of mind, right? But the thing is, you got to actually, after you're done with me, if you survive me, because if you fail to answer my riddles 3, I'll eat you. It's traditional. But after you see me, you still have to get underground again. Because the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls. And you were told that, and you went upstairs anyway. Like, the person who told you that, went upstairs. It's bizarre.
Sometimes these things need to be changed in order to seek trends. I'm not a very traditional person. But I will answer your riddles if they suit me. Otherwise, I will shoot you in the face with my gun if you try to eat me.
Oh, that's fair. All right, so here's the first riddle. What is your name?
They call me Baby Dolce.
Wrong. That's not what I asked. I asked your name. Riddle number 2. What is your quest?
I am trying to make the Omega formula to live forever.
Right, that bit checks out. The most difficult question of all. What is your favorite color?
I was worried you were going to ask me about swallows, but I will.
African or
Yes.
European?
Either and or both.
I don't know anything about swallows, so I wouldn't ask that. But no, what was your favorite color?
What is the most in color right now?
You would know that better than me.
I suppose it is whatever I'm wearing. I look down at my mud-stained
You're supposed
clothes.
to be a trendsetter, not a get better. So you get to choose. That's the whole damn point.
It is brown.
If you want to be immortal, brown. Ooh, that right there, that's a daring choice.
It's in right now.
So it is. All right. So, down the
Like the way I came.
duck back down the alley.
Just
some
over there?
roly-poly little bat-faced girl. Little woman comes, little young round woman comes along. Duck back down that alley with that roly-poly little bat-faced girl, and then you'll find the entrance to the subway where the prophets have written on the walls.
Okay, I will head back down to the subway the way I came. Do I have to wait for another train, or will it be on the...
No. I'm sure that once you get down in there, necessity is the mother of invention. You'll find the way.
Okay. Good to meet you, Crocodile. What is your name? I will invite you to my next party.
Well, my name is After a While. When I was an alligator, it was See You Later.
Okay. It's a very old joke. Maybe it will come back into fashion. And then she heads down into the subway tunnels.
As you're heading down into the tunnels, the alligator or crocodile, whichever one it is, calls after you. The guy who put me his old-fashioned sock. It's not my fault. And then she and the whole world behind you disappear in a puff of logic as you re-enter the subway.
Nice. And she gets down there, realizes she's just standing in a tunnel covered in mud and blood and brandishing a pistol, tucks it away back into her pocket, and starts examining the walls.
There are arrows still pointing east, but underneath each of the arrows is a portion of a chemical formula. And the little bits of it, from your understanding, since you've been researching this for so long, you've been trying to make this immortality formula, you realize that the bits and pieces of the chemical formula that you're reading are intended to re-lengthen telomerase, which is the shortening of which is what causes aging in human cells.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
there's a chemical in it. There's one thing that doesn't translate, and there's just like an asterisk, one ingredient that just doesn't quite exist. Maybe it needs to be invented.
She definitely takes photos of each of the arrows with the portion of the equation, and then I guess, is there any phone signal down here?
Say again?
Is there any phone signal down here in the subway tunnels?
I would say that there is almost no signal. It's really sketchy and gives in and out.
I'm gonna spend a faith point to I'm gonna spend 2 faith points to grant the boon of an ability related to one of my domains, and it's going to be you can get 5G Basically anywhere.
Very good.
Omega G.
He has a Gallerphone.
And she calls her her scientist, the lead of her science team, and describes the formula to them so that they can start work on it while she's still searching for this final ingredient, or so they can start making work on it.
Slay has their hand up.
So let me know if you guys object. That's fine. But you're a science team looking for a cure to medicine and a cure to aging. That sounds like medicine to me.
Sounds like it to me too.
So I would like to take control, if that's okay.
Very good. If I may, I'll do a handoff.
Got it.
Your scientist says, "Oh yes, we have that whole formula, sir. It's just we're missing that click, and then it is now. Slay can have it."
Beep, 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 beep.
We're missing a key I can't do the accent. We're missing a key ingredient, sir. It's just it's beyond, and you hear a scream. You hear a scream in the phone.
Does the scream remind me of the scream that Clara screamed when I got on the train?
Like it's layered. Like you hear him talking, and you hear the Clara screaming, no, but then it cuts out to being, and then the guy continues. He doesn't notice. It's a key ingredient that we can't. This doesn't exist as in science today. We have no idea how to even begin to do this.
But you'll make it exist,
sir. You have to make it exist. You're better at this than all of us. We can replicate it once you do this, but this is beyond us. This is beyond anything mortal man should be able to do.
I'm gonna spend 5 faith points right now and manifest an avatar because Livewire is annoyed.
Too.
He is frustrated.
Yeah.
So lightning bolt down from the heavens strikes down into the third rail, which he jumps out of in his full divine glory, shading himself just enough that he doesn't accidentally pull a Zeus doing Semele on you and you don't poof into nothing. Okay. I'm going to be real straightforward about this. First of all, can I have the phone a second?
Hello?
Stop it.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Can you put back on my boss?
No. Do what you were told. You'll get your ingredient. Beep. Hands you the phone back.
That you are.
Feel. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You feel the air go colder, and Livewire, you feel it as a warning that you can take or you can ignore if you wish. But it is a warning. You feel everything go colder.
Ooh, you're threatening me. Great. Listen. And at this point, he's talking straight up to the sky and the universe as much as you.
Yeah, they can hear you, I'm sure.
He's half God. Just like Riggs, he gets his chance to be immortal. It doesn't change life and death. It doesn't affect you. Stop messing with the kids.
I would like to spend 5 of my fate points. Someone else, whoever wants to, can take narrative control. But you see, Death walks out of the subway. Livewire, you see a relatively smaller than you person, androgynous, balding head, white eyes, and a lab coat, and they look to you and say, I don't care if she wants immortality. I care that she's giving it to the mortals. The mortals should not have it.
The mortals. Were you not listening? Do you have ears?
She's
You're
making
something resembling.
She's
She's
making the
looking for it for
formula.
herself. She's looking for it for herself, just so she's claiming that the mortals can have it, so they will bankroll her search. She even said to you,
If
to
she
you.
makes, if she
yeah, but she
makes
said
it,
to you, she doesn't care if
others
everybody
can.
dies.
I do.
No, they can't. It's got an ingredient she can't get a hold of. We all already established that.
May I speak? I know
You
you are
may,
both very, very
child.
powerful beings who can obliterate me in a second.
You may, child. Speak your case.
If one of you grants me immortality right now, we can forget this whole mess.
That's kind of against tradition. There's got to be a
Everything
whole
ends.
quest.
It sounds like it's a forward-thinking idea.
You know what? You got to find the ingredient yourself. But you know what also? If you can convince them that that as long as you get it, you're not going to share it with everybody else, then that can be the last thing of the quest. What do you think, Riggs? What do you think, Nouveau? We got enough challenges in this quest so far.
Convince me, child, why this won't end badly.
Of course, I would never give it away.
Can you guarantee that no one will steal it from you? I don't believe you can.
Once I use it, I will give it to you. And I will sell a fake version of it to maintain my lifestyle.
Yes,
Would
Steve?
lifestyle be a trend?
It can be.
Yeah.
You should certainly claim it as another domain as part of connection to trend, etc. Wouldn't you think so? True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody else. Yeah.
Unless there's objection, this can go forward. I think narrator is free now anyway, so if whoever wants it can really take it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you're listening to this argument between what appear to be deities,
in the subway.
in the subway, in the darkness of the tunnel, there's a reflection of a flash of a neon light that hits your eye and dazes you for a second. And I'm not sure if this would be a minor detail or a boon, somewhere in between. So I'm gonna, well, I don't have
when
to
you're
spend
narrating,
narrating.
you don't gotta spend nothing. Yeah.
Okay. For a moment, you have a vision. You have a vision of you going through your life, unimportant, while people are cheering the names of these entities. And then you have a vision of, I don't know, 10,000 people, maybe more. They're writing, they're singing a jingle. They're singing a jingle that features your name. You can be the star. You can be immortal.
By the world, Omega 4.
But if you don't take action on it, songs that voices never share. It's all entirely up to you.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot going on. I think are these gods arguing enough for me to sneak away on my silent shoes?
No, my attention's turned to you. Like I'm looking at you because you're supposed to convince me.
Are you? You're trying to sneak away though.
Yeah. What would it take for me to sneak away?
I would take a
The
6.
narrator.
Hey, that's up to
Well, if you're a narrator.
that's not up to you, Death.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
no,
up to me.
that's up to the narrator.
It's up to Nuevo.
Touched by the sound of silence, I'd say a 2.
2.
Part of it's because I'm being very flashy and loud and annoying and in Death's face.
Mhm.
I'm sure it's really hard for gods to focus on mortals for too long.
It probably is.
Like, I rolled a 2,
Oh, nice.
and yeah, she will sneak away in the easterly direction, hoping to get far enough away before these gods follow her to continue on this journey a little while.
I will release my avatar. Lightning bolt heads back up to the sky.
Through the top of the subway tunnel.
Oh, yeah, I wreck shit.
Death will scowl, have a slight smirk on their face. At least one of my domains will be satisfied. And they disappear, but everything around them in about 100-foot radius decays as they disappear. This part of the subway is unusable.
It's got a big hole in the ceiling, and the ground is decayed.
Well, given the fact that we wouldn't allow entropy, you're only going to be affecting organic decay, but that's still fairly significant.
Yeah.
Especially in these old parts.
Yeah. That's true. Thank you for checking me on that. I forgot.
Yeah, you know, you could have kept it if not. These old stories, they're inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. If I hadn't interfered, you would have suddenly gotten entropy again.
Cool. So what do I find when I keep following these arrows to their end point?
Would the arrows count as communication?
Yes.
It could.
I was about to say you find the words written on the wall, which is communication. Yes.
All right. Yes. So you find these words written on the subway wall, and it is a symbol that is to you. It makes a sense. It just clicks. But if you had to, it is essentially a non-communicatable symbol. You understand it but cannot relay it.
Mm-hmm.
And it forms sort of this perfect understanding in your mind of the last ingredient of this of the Omega formula.
Mm-hmm.
But if you tried to speak it or write it down, you would not be able to sort of have a grasp on it.
Mm-hmm. Do I think I'll be able to use it to make a single dose for myself?
You can, and you can even make as many doses as you want, but you can only do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. So I gotta crank these things out manually, huh? She thinks a moment, and she, obviously, there's no real way to record this, right? Because if I can't write it down, I probably can't take a photo. Can I take a photo of it that I can look at and still pass, or like once I've made an image of it, is it just a flat symbol? It means nothing.
Yeah, an image of it is just a reproduction of a symbol without meaning.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to spend 2 faith points to grant a boon, an ability related to one of my domains, namely fabrication. You do understand how to make this thing, and that knowledge can you can hold on to. You can't share it, but
Mm-hmm.
you have the usable, actionable knowledge that you need.
Awesome. and with the tools that are around me, I'm talking sewer water and moss that's in the cracks of the walls, and the chamber of my gun as a test tube. I'm gonna try and mix up some of this formula.
I'll wait. I'm good.
Sure, because I was gonna say Slay had their hand up.
Well, okay. Yeah, you're mixing up a formula that sounds like medicine to me.
Does a little bit medicine-y.
Yeah. So you mix up the formula in your gun, and I'm not gonna narrate that part, but you take the formula, and it goes through your veins, goes through into you. It burns.
Mm-hmm.
It burns. Really, it burns. And then you see Clara again, and she says, "Well, what are you gonna do now?"
Am I immortal?
Yes. That doesn't like it very much. But you're a demigod, so the rules change for you.
And if I give this to a normal person?
Oh, Death won't like it. You can see what happens.
They die.
I'm going to spend 4 face points to give you a miraculous intervention because you fulfilled the conditions.
Mm-hmm.
You passed the quest. You are immortal. Now, by ancient tradition, I declare that you are now a god and no longer under their purview.
Cool. I think with all this going on right now, she will remain in mortal form for a little while longer. I think she'd like to stay there until the body dies, and she would like to keep living her high fashion life. But she's not going to give this. Now that she's a god, she knows what that's like. She's not going to give this feeling to other people. She's too selfish. She's too, But she does give away all her mortal possessions over time, and gives away a formula to something that uses parts of this formula to provide a few extra years of life for those that need it.
Beauty product and anti-agasic.
A beauty product, and uses that to continue her wealth, and calls it Clara's Cure, and people can use it for the rest of human time. And if she's taken a few years off, well, added a few years to everyone's life in the purchases it for quite a high fee. So at least a little knock on death's nose, but nothing permanent, nothing forever.
Dead's annoyed, but medicine smiles.
Yeah, at least
that's
it's
what
something.
You get for get for being dissociative.
I think that's what we'll call the our myth, which I can't remember what the name of it was. It was Baby Dolce and the search for the Omega formula.
Hunt for Omega formula.
The hunt for the Omega formula. That's our myth, guys. Congratulations, guys. We found an ending. We got there. We did some fun storytelling going on there.
You're saying having become a god, the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made.
Yes,
exactly.
Would you say that you're feeling groovy?
Different song.
So on that note, are there any closing events that you would like for your gods to narrate, as anything about the world that's changed or that still remains because of this adventure and your gods?
The part of death that was death becomes less and less a part of them, and medicine becomes a more open part of them. Their eyes start to gain color. Their hair starts to gain volume. Their cheeks gain less gauntness and stuff. And death feels more alive for the first time in eons.
Awesome.
You know, my old friend, with the help of invention to come up with the way to handle it, and me to provide the energy and communication to run, the coordination, right? We could split you so death can go off and be death, and you can be medicine, and you don't have to be in conflict with yourself all the time.
One eye is white, the other eye is both color blue, and you hear a double voice saying, "I'm interested."
So, Riggs, you think you can help us with this?
I think so.
Nouveau, you ready to make a pair of new gods who aren't hating themselves so much?
I think we could fabricate something.
Sweet. And you might even say they're both artificial intelligence.
It's true.
Tying
And
it
so
back
Let's
in.
spark it.
The gods work together to split the atom that is the god of death,
Yep.
and create two separate gods, one of death, one of medicine.
And then I enact my true plan, which is to absorb all that excess energy that you get from splitting a divine entity, because it's just like splitting an atom. I absorb all the excess.
and become huge. And what about our other two gods? Is there any closing remarks on this story or on your characters?
I think that I think that Riggs does get with the times a little bit more and does also become the god of podcasts.
Wow.
Nice. Very
Insufferable.
powerful.
Yeah, to skip
Amazing.
right over TV into modern
Visual stuff,
media.
can't touch it. Don't care. Looks too much like electricity.
What about you, Steve?
Obviously very proud of Riggs for catching up, and almost starting to appreciate Livewire sort of grudgingly, but and I think being able to get along with the god of medicine without having to get along with the god of death, because the better medicine, the more time people have to spend on their lifestyle and their trends and keeping up.
Making new
Medicine is
stuff.
much more personable than death. Medicine talks a lot.
As long as medicine listens. Sorry, that was above game.
As long as medicine listens to science and to the patients.
Above game, I was thinking patience, but
Me too, so much.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I guess we'll call it there. Amazing stream, everyone. I really enjoyed. In fact, I hope you've enjoyed playing my game. I really enjoyed seeing it played again by all new people. And yeah, we do outros now, right? So I gotta do my wrap up. This is my wrap up of brown paper that I found behind the sink. We've been doing this for a very good cause. There's still time to donate. Every second there's time to donate. If you were going to buy a coffee or a takeaway meal, order one less item and put that money into the fund. You can probably find the link in the chat at some point recently, or maybe even right now. Right now. I don't know if that worked or not. I'm not looking.
It did.
And yeah, these have been the wonderful people playing. I've been Jack. I played the demigod, and I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed getting tossed around by these powerful beings to the point where they were standing there having an argument while I had to run away. to actually to solve this thing, which felt right. You can find me on Twitter at JAK_True. That's at Jack True, all lowercase, on Elon Musk's X. And it doesn't roll off the tongue very well. And you can find me on Battle of the Seven Dice podcast, Escaping Carcosa Offline. I'm in that every, there's a good number of episodes of that out now. And just around, I'm places. I'm on shows like this, and I'm going to pass it off. We're used to our order by now. We've done this order for the whole character creation process, and we're going to do it again backwards, starting with Steve.
I'm Steve. You can find me on the socials at Tall Halfling RPG over on Threads. I play mostly one-shots and charity games all over Twitch and YouTube. And you'll also find me behind the scenes doing video production and live stream production and podcast editing and such. For the first time in a very long time, I don't have anything else immediately coming up. But keep an eye on Miskatonic Playhouse. I've been doing a bunch of Call of Cthulhu related stuff over there.
Nice.
And then next up is Slay.
Hi, I'm Slay. You can find me on Twitter. That's what I'm calling it. At Sons of Warvan. That's Sons_of_Warvan. Normally on Saturdays, I will be doing a Star Trek Adventures First Edition game on the Rune and Relic channel at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But this Saturday, I will be here doing the Pathfinder charity game at, I believe, 1 p.m., right, Lion? Yeah, yes. So yeah, at 1 p.m. EST. So come. It's going to be great. It's my first time playing Pathfinder. Come and see. It's going to be fun.
And over to Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. You can find me on basically everywhere, including Jack's Twitter, because I'm still in denial, that at Vale's Edge Games. And you can also find my games on itch under Vale's Edge Games as well. And keep an eye out for the Queer XP's podcast. We're playing Himbos of Myth and Metal on there.
Cool.
I like that.
And then finally, and hopefully not fatally, up to Jack.
I am Jack Kellum, Jack Giant Killer, Jack Gogsbane. You can find me anywhere on my own interwebs as Of Gods and Game Masters, which is my wholly owned, I am sole proprietor game company. I make games, I make worlds, gods, and villains. I will make them on commission for you. I will write for you. You can find all my stuff at ofgodsandgamemasters.com. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitch. I'm on TikTok. If there's a place where I can advertise to you, I'm there, unfortunately, because it's how you have to do. But I have my own store on my website. You can also buy stuff from drive-thru. Find all of that still of Gods and Game Masters. I'm very often to be found on Lion's Channel running games or playing games because Lion's Channel is amazing. And I'm just saying that you might be watching out for something like that in the relatively near future that we've been working on. Saying. But yeah, this was absolutely a blast. And I just want to say, Nuvo, I may be a lightning god, but at least I'm not Zeus. And then I will throw it over to our host for the final outro, Drake Lionheart.
Yeah,
Lionheart 42.
That's me. I am here, a disembodied voice. All these other cool gods get avatars. I just get to be a floating voice, and I'm okay with that tonight. First and foremost, Thank you so much to everyone for being involved. Thank you to our wonderful Tailslinger for sharing your amazing game with us all. I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I will say for me, I have fallen in love with this so fast. This was such a cool experience. Thank you to all our wonderful players. Y'all were amazing, our wonderful gods. Thank you to everyone who hung out in chat, everyone who donated, shared, has just been part of any of this experience. We do have 2 more games coming at you. I said 2 with my hands. I don't know why. I talk with my hands a lot. It's fine. We have 2 more games coming at you for the Lionheart Mutual Aid event. We are off tomorrow, but on Friday, we'll be back over on RPGs Uncovered at 7 p.m. with a game of Cyberpunk Red. It's going to be real good. It's Food Truck Wars, I think is what the name of it is. It looks like it's going to be real exciting. It's a great cast. Cool things coming down the line for that. And then we'll be back on Saturday, 1 p.m. EST, here on Tales from the Table Studios as we wrap with Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It's going to be an awesome time. Everyone involved in both those games is just absolutely phenomenal. We are currently sitting at 72% of our goal, which is phenomenal. It's been absolutely incredible. We got a little bit more time ahead of us. We're going to keep moving forward. Again, thank you to everyone involved. And I think that's all that I have to go over for tonight. So, until next time, take care of yourself, love yourself, eat enough food, drink enough water, do the things you gotta do, and always remember to tell your tales. Have a great night.
Tell your tales.